We understand President Cyril Ramaphosa expected to come there. Who exactly is he going to meet, do we know at this stage?
Good morning, Yuveka. He's expected to meet the ANC caucus here in the Northwest along with the alliance partners. That meeting expected to take place at midday. He's coming in from London, and I think it's an indication of just how serious the ANC is taking the situation here in the Northwest. And he's going to be joined by the ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule and the Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte and a number of other National Executive Committee members. And I think they've arrived at a time when the intervention couldn't have come any sooner. I think there's an acknowledgement that the chaos that erupted on Wednesday when I was still here, that it is just escalating and it requires intervention at the highest level. And I think the President's visit at midday in that meeting, there's going to be I think there's a lot of expectation ahead of that meeting, what exactly the President's intervention is going to yield here, whether we're going to see some sort of big announcement by the President of the ANC and the country regarding perhaps the future of Premier Supra Mahikeng amongst these calls for him to step down. But a defiant Mahikeng last night on ANN7, I listened to a clip there, him saying that this is all about an expected pushback by people that are anti-radical economic transformation. Yuveka.
Well, just looking at how this all started this week, Michael, we know there was supposed to be that motion of no confidence vote that was supposed to happen earlier this week. It's been postponed, but Supra Mahikeng always been dogged by controversy. It's been months and years that we've been hearing him being a very avid Jacob Zuma supporter, a Zuma man, as he's been labeled as well. So why now? Why are we seeing residents now taking such drastic action, showing their unhappiness in this way? Why this week?
Well, I do believe that postponement of that motion of no confidence on Tuesday for at least a month while parties gather their submissions that they want to make in court, which will take place in the next 3 weeks to a month. I think that postponement was used as a springboard to vent a lot of anger and frustration that I think has been building up in this province, and especially in the provincial capital here in Mahikeng and the surrounding areas, using that motion of no confidence, not going ahead to take to the streets on Wednesday this week. And their first demand is that the Premier must step down, and it's all as a result of a lack of basic service delivery here in the provincial capital and the surrounding areas. And it's got to do with a prolonged Nahawu strike that has crippled the public health sector here in the province. There's no medicines that's leaving the provincial medical depot here, getting to the clinics. Clinics have closed down in many of the areas. A lot of the people that we speak to on the streets saying that people have died in clinics as a result of no medicine getting there. But as you drive around the city before this shutdown, the fact that waste is lying everywhere, street lights don't work, the streets are in absolute disarray, there are potholes everywhere, and of course the public healthcare sector having collapsed, almost having collapsed. The MEC of Health went as far as to say that service delivery has been massively impacted in the health sector, but he wouldn't say that it has collapsed as yet. But that's how close it is. And I think the frustration of people here has just spilled out onto the streets.
Well, seeing as these are protests that are being led by the residents themselves, the people of Mahikeng, and Mahikeng himself saying he believes that these are supporters, these are pro-Ramaphosa people who now want him gone. The president coming there to have a meeting with ANC officials, with the ANC caucus there, what good is that going to do? Should he rather be out there talking to these protesters, talking to these residents? I mean, if we're able to find them at that time.
Well, I think he first needs to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I think he wants to listen to that ANC caucus here, which on the face of it, and from what we understand from the economic freedom fighters, is a very divided caucus, as the EFF was counting on many of the 23 members within the ANC caucus in the provincial legislature, that at least 8 of them would be voting, as many as 13 would be voting to support that motion of no confidence. So it's clearly a divided caucus here. So I think they need to hear, the president needs to hear from that caucus first. And I suspect potentially that the president would try and discuss with some of the figureheads that have been seen to be behind this. There's a group calling themselves the Northwest Revolutionary Council. You've got the Youth League in the province that has also been advocating for the Premier to go. So that is why that meeting is taking place with alliance partners as well, to try and just get a handle on this situation. But what we're hearing from people on the ground is that you have ANC members, disgruntled ANC members, you have EFF members that are all stoking the fires here on the ground to get this protest going. But the ugly side of these protests, as we've seen overnight and even since Wednesday, is that criminality has crept in and that there's been widespread looting overnight. And we were here at this mega city mall last night when bottle stores were being looted, and the police are stationed here in force to make sure that mega city mall, one of the biggest malls here in Mahikeng, doesn't go to ruin.
All right, thanks very much, ENCA's Michael Appel in Mahikeng there, just looking ahead to President Cyril Ramaphosa's visit following the looting and widespread protesting that has happened there over